Sounds like an SOS.
Holy whack unlyrical lyrics, Andre! You're fucking right!
To the rap mobile. Let's go.
Oh God, how I quite forgot. Just what you wish.
Who are you? What do you want from me? Open the door! Step aside! Let me be free!
Can you say what was it?
Oh, The Great Vegetable by Arthur Shakespeare. I was playing an ensemble.
Co-produced. He's very cool.
Oi, 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 Lisa,
My dissertation submission deadline is today. My friend corrected lots of stuff for the grammar. Like on Google Doc, you need to agree for each correction that someone did, and then I need to copy that and paste it into a website called Overleaf, which has created a template for you to write a nice paper that will lay down really well, rather than using Word document. It's equivalent to using a program called LaTeX, but this is an easy option. And I woke up today at 6, and this is a duvet. I got it from our storage. Oh God. Total, I spent a whole week doing this. I'm really grateful that I have friends who spend time reading my science paper and they do humanities. I came back from a lecture, my brain is exhausted and I can just feel it, and I'm not gonna do a revision because we still have lectures, science. And I totally disagree that we are not given answers to past paper questions in science, and my supervisor totally agree about that, and he's 80 years old. The vast majority of learning is looking at the answers and seeing how it could have been solved, and then you apply those principles and then you questions. I was doing music sorting because tomorrow we're DJing, and now I'm gonna practice with my friend because we never did back to back.
Who got the funk?
What is this?
There's this pause here, it's just dead space. You can't phrase mix this. If you're going through a standard phrase structure of 4, 8, 16. If I press
Both of them.
both here, so they'll both be beat matched, but they won't be phrase matched.
So it's just about where it drops.
Yeah, so you could do it now.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
Honestly, why the fuck the laundry is so expensive? It's £2.40 for one wash, and in some colleges it's for free. Iron it for you and they dry it. My college is so poor.
Basically, a strong magnetic field will create a dipole moment.
From yesterday. We're here. There was one guy from physics lectures. He was like, I will be gassed if I'll get a 2-1. And I was like, yeah, same, in order to continue to do masters. And he's like, I cannot believe that you want to do masters, because everyone knows how much I complain about physics, and the way it's organized and the way it's taught is just awful. And I tried to change it. Actually, I found some screenshots, which I found hilarious. Essentially, it's from the committee of physics department 3-4 years ago, and they have agenda, the things that they will get done. And there was written tripos is exam which we take, distribution of tripos exams answers, and now it's 2019 and there are no literally answers. Astrophysical fluid dynamics is one of the courses that we take. Essentially, they didn't organize supervisors or tutorials up until the end of the term. It's really bad. The guy who's the chair of physics department, and he was like, we're gonna send you 1 year of worth answers for astrophysical fluids. Oh my god, so useful. And also, he didn't send it up until the end of vacation when we have left 1 month to revise. Department is so nice. Things that I'm DJing today, first time ever on a late slot. We are DJing right in the middle, it's 1:20, and it's amazing.
The hardcore way that you do it.
Oh my god! And the killer is our friend Alex also fell off them.
Yeah.
And he hurt his arm and got to go to Polish hospital, and I didn't.
What?
And I was the one.
Is it because you didn't want
Evelina.
to? Or is it?
Have you seen Evelina's vlogs?
No.
She films. She's filming me now.
I don't understand social media, I'm sorry.
This is Michael. He does economics.
She's got so much incriminating foot. Evelina, I can't.
Happy birthday to you. I just did my Viva for my research review, and it went pretty well. I'm really hoping for 90% because in some of other stuff I got 48. My first solution was completely useless because he was like, oh, I don't know how to solve this math. And I'm like, why the fuck you're a supervisor if you don't know how to solve this math? This is my project. for me it's kind of a memory. If I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna like rewatch it next year and I'll remember how much I was struggling. We have 7 modules, 7 exams obviously, in like 10 days, and I'm really grateful that there is no at least 2 exams in one day as it used to be last year for my year course. I'm constantly thinking there's no smart way of revising because you literally need to remember everything. I remember doing a question, I was like, where this formula comes from? It kind of looks familiar, but like I don't remember. And then literally it's one slide and they question this thing on just one slide. So if you don't remember everything by heart, again, it's like a memorization game. 20% of people or less are girls on a course, so it's not a lot.
Hopefully see you all soon. Be confident. Keep working.
So we just right now had like a really long 2-hour revision supervision for relativity, and essentially my supervisor told us the main things that is reasonable to be asked on the exam, because the last topic that we've covered in relativity called cosmological something, it's kind of really complicated and I even don't remember covering it in lectures because towards the end when your lecture course finishes your brain kind of switches off. Yesterday we had the supervision for quantum condensed matter. It was so funny. So there's like an equation that is called Poisson equation. Essentially I called it Poisson equation because how it's written, like if you read it, it's like kind of really relevant because we're in exam term.
It's only 11% actually, isn't it?
I don't know. You actually stop filming.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I feel like the point of this tracker, right, is to relieve stress. So if the way I do that isn't by crying, it's by napping, then I should be able to quit napping. No, but I think that could be the same Excel sheet.
It's actually very unrepresentative.
But it's a stress tracker, and either you can relieve that stress by crying or napping.
Sometimes we meet up to cry.
Sometimes we meet up to cry. That's actually nice. That's good, actually.
Yeah.
Well, next time you're doing a cry meetup, I'll come and stress nap just next to you.
There are 3 of them, so one of them suddenly comes.
Bending of light.
The banding will come out, right?
Evelina, I can't do it. Stop. It's so sad.
I don't want to be filmed. No, it's a good memory. Ria, what do you think about the exam term?
It's lovely. I love it. I do it again.
What is happening here? Can you describe?
Tea in the library. No, it's great. Also, did you do this? What is this?
It's not mine.
Person who has an exam tomorrow. Hell no!
Oh, you have exam tomorrow?
Yes.
We too. Woo. My caffeine content right now in my body is overwhelmingly high. Every day I drink 5 and more coffees. I feel worried because coffee makes you feel worried. Another thing is that my stomach stopped working completely thanks to stress. There was one girl who sent us solution to one of the questions, and when someone can do more than you, you're like
Is he coughing or?
Exam is in 40 minutes. This one is like the easiest, so I just did one of my exams and the only thing is in my head, fuck all this system, because everything what I've studied didn't come up, or like everything what I've studied was not useful. Probably the most annoying part is that there was 3 questions to choosing. I've chosen the most hard questions. That's why like I'm really angry because I could have got most of the marks from one of the questions, but let's choose something that looks familiar, and if one thing that was looking familiar is super hard, I've learned stochastical physics, I've learned Brownian motion, all the things that never came up on the exam, and I thought maybe it will come up this year, and then they didn't, and the questions that came up were using the same principles but completely from different perspective, and also they didn't give you any guidance. So for example, you derive an equation and then they ask you to do something with this equation, but you have no idea if this equation is correct or not. So I didn't have time to check, I didn't have time to redo anything, probably because the material easiest, they made the exam super hard. Thank you. When we do example sheet, we sit in front of example sheets for like 5-6 hours to do the question, might manage to do them. Well, here you have like 2 hours, do some questions from scratch like that you've never seen in your life. It's not a problem that I didn't learn my material, it's not a problem that I'm not smart enough, it's just things that happens in my brain that didn't give me an idea of how to solve this question. So we just realized that there are almost no girls around, apart from girls from my college. There's like one girl. How are you feeling? Literally the first paper in my whole Cambridge University time, when I come out of the exam and I'm like, I think I did pretty well, because they repeated many questions. It's like solid first, I'm pretty sure.
What's it called? Don't know, but it's on Cambridge. Maybe Itu or something?
Itu?
No, not Itu. Would you rather be really good at exams and be really, really shit at dating.
But I'm both shit
at dating and exams.
You have a boyfriend, so
I never dated him.
doesn't matter. I just don't see the point of being good at exams. It's just good for university time, that's all.
Yeah.
It doesn't determine anything in your life in the future.
Well, it depends on the subject.
Apart from a really boring job. Yes, it does depend. If you're gonna go into banking, they're gonna look at you first.
Oh my god.
Two and two along with Evelina.
I realize you're about to be in YouTube forever.
Oh, this is so cool. Can I be there later? Overwhelming feeling of amount of things that you need to remember. You get anxiety and stress because of that. Then you're unable to concentrate at all. You just don't feel calm enough to study, I guess.
And then I think what I did, which is a scuffle, I'm really sure you're not allowed it, but I wrote somewhere that dv over dn equals v over n.
Also took this wonderful board that has written on it, don't take it from the library. Like, I had 3 full days to revise, but I failed 2 of those days because I was exhausted. And today I was just literally going through the notes. I didn't practice any past paper questions. Also, it's so funny that there are people who are saying 2 exams done, 2 to go, and I'm like 2 exams done and 5 to go. It's raining like really heavily and they're still sitting there. And about AQP exam which I had today, it was okay paper. Main thing this year is that they don't scale my marks, because last year I remember going out of the exam and I was like, this is certainly first, but because it's gonna be rescaled depending on what other people got, I will get 65. So I was really annoyed about that in first and second year. I don't know what will happen this year. I know to get a first is possible. Like this year, it's actually possible. If you have Facebook, you should follow the hashtag called Cambridge Reality, which I've created last year. Essentially, I write there some sarcastic but also really annoying stuff about physics in Cambridge. And today I wrote from the examiner report, quote, a bookwork derivation straight from the course handout. So surprisingly poorly answered. And then I just write, yeah, why can't we memorize a whole handout full of bookwork? Sorry for being a monk. Seriously? Like, literally, we cannot memorize every single bookwork thing. It's not surprisingly that we are not doing it. It's normal. We are not robots. When they will understand it. So I messaged one of the 4th years asking, like, can you give me some tips for electrodynamics and optics course? And he was like, learn John's matrix, antennas and something else because they're easy and everything else is impossible. So this is like really inspiring. Everything else is impossible. So in Volsung they have opened the study space and conference rooms, so it's in this building.
What? Why? Me getting pushed out and going the rock. I love that.
What is Purple Disco?
Purple Disco Machine.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, they're a remixer.
So I love them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of my favorites now. David is DJ.
You recorded me going for a shower.